it will be like when I walk.
Àánú rẹ̀ á kọ́ wíwá tí mo wà láyé ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé àánú rẹ̀ á kọ́ wíwá tí mo wà láyé ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. So far, oh sweet Father, how can I forget you? I can never forget you in my life. In fact, you educated me. Throughout my education life, you stayed behind me. In crisis, you were there for me. Even at your sick bed, you were there. You kept on calling my name. Ẹ sọ fún Tósìn wípé kó ṣe báyìí. Ẹ sọ fún Tósìn wípé kó ṣe báyìí. How can I just forget you in my life? Very, very painful to do so. Mi ò lè gbàgbé bàbá mi nítorí pé mo mọ rírì àwọn oore tó ti ṣe nínú ayé mi. So and tó dẹ̀ tún ṣe fún àwọn àbúrò mi lọ́kan òjọ̀kan. Mo fi ògo fún orúkọ rẹ̀.
I would say Daddy was my confidant. There was nothing I couldn't share with him. Even growing up as a little girl, the boyfriends I had, he knew about them. He was always talking to me. In fact, even if I don't go out, he will be the one to take me out. Like, you've not gone out for a while. Don't you have friends? He will take me out. So he was my friend. I shared a lot with him.
Having to know him over the time, it's easy to see that I was finding it difficult to use the word was. He was a man of the people. Everything about him is concern for the other man. And that he showed in his living with all around him, children, siblings, associates. And that's one thing I would take along with him. He walked throughout. Even at the time he passed away, I would say that the last year had been wonderful for us. It was the best we had, the closest we had so far. And we're thinking that will continue in that trend. We are looking forward to spending more time together. The 2 weeks before he went to glory, we are actually seeing him every day. So his concern for the people, even when he was that strong, you could see, I need to do this. Have you called that person? That person needed to do this for the church, for the community. Daddy, take it easy, take it cool. You go back to all of these things. Your concern now is you're going back strong to offer. And that he did throughout. The love of the people, his concern, their care. I really appreciate that in him.
If let me call somebody that I can always, when I'm in a fix, when I don't know maybe what next to do, when I need a fatherly advice, apart from God, of course, I need God, I need the Holy Spirit, then I ask for the words of wisdom from him too. He was a man of unity. He is a unifying factor in the family. He loves to bring everybody together. And that's what he stood for in his lifetime. People living together in unity, oneness of mind.
Well, Daddy was always a busy man, but as busy as he was, he had time to notice some very little details. And I think I remember one day, I locked myself up at Anilelere, and then he was wondering where I was. So he sent an apple to me, When you look at Daddy with the marks on his face, but he sent an apple to me. So I think that was very wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
For me, I can say Daddy was a listener. he listens. It takes time to hear you out and really offer his advice to you. Unbiased opinion, irrespective of how bitter the truth might be. So he's a listener and at the same time, he's a counselor. I think one of the things I really miss him for is his true and sincere advice. Talking about legacy, he always has this saying that the best legacy you can give a child is education. And he's committed, so committed to ensuring that that is done for every child. But today, if I would really ask myself that, what is the legacy he left? I would rather say that he showed us what sacrificial living meant. He lived for the others at the expense of his own comfort. So I would say that the legacy he left is a sacrificial life.
He lived a very honorable life. There are so many interesting things about him that I personally desire. And first of all, I'm grateful for him being the father of my wife, who has been a blessing to me. But generally, he was a very good man. He was a man who was committed to the service of his community. And I believe that is something that every one of us should emulate. On a personal note, I find him to be a very caring and lovely person who is always willing and eager at every given opportunity to share a word of encouragement, which I believe it's a very great quality.
Okay, that meant different things to different people. To some friend, to some who was a teacher, to some a mentor, and of course to some because they find him, they see him as a spokesman. But to me, I would say that he is a symbol. That is a symbol of discipline. He lived a committed life, and also he had the fear of God. He was also a very brave man.
My dad was my role model, was my hero. He was my mentor and my confidant. My dad was a loving father. There are a lot of lessons I learned from him. My dad taught me to be honest. He taught me to be time conscious. He taught me to be focused in whatever I do in this life. He taught me to be prayerful. He taught me to love one another, and he taught me to be accommodating.
To me, Daddy wasn't just a father. He was my role model, he was my mentor, he was my hero, and a friend as well. He was a friend that I could always confide in, a friend that I could tell everything.
Daddy was not just a father-in-law to me, he was a father. I actually known him for quite a while, but becoming his son-in-law and getting to know him personally and spending time with him closely, has shown me a very different, perspective about him, because he was a very loving man, very understanding and very simple, and I say he's very humble, very, very humble. Before you say a word, he understands you and wants to be part of whatever you're going through, whatever you want to do, he wants to contribute.
It was so caring that even when I heard that he was dead, I couldn't still believe it. Anytime you see Grandpa, even if he doesn't want to say anything to you, he's always reminding you that you should serve God, you should always remember that you have God. He was a very wonderful man. He was so loving to the extent that even if I need some things, even if I have some problem with my mom, he would just pick the phone, talk to me. When I got my admission, he called me. Any exam I do, he will call me. Every New Year, any of my birthdays, he's always calling me. He was just the best grandpa I've ever had, and I really love him so much. The last time I saw him, he told me to take care of my younger ones and for me to read my books and not to disappoint him in my education. But, well, we just have to take the fate that he's gone.
Àwa bíi mẹ́fà ni bàbá ẹ̀ bí. Nínú wọn ni mo jẹ́ àkọ́bí nínú ọmọ. Kí Jésù ọba aláàánú kó bá mi gbé ẹrù náà.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face